No, I have one. She knows I have one.
Have one what?
She said you didn't have one. You don't have an 800 cross credit score.
No, I said that you did. I wasn't negating that.
I know. You just want credit for it.
Exactly. I'm trying to figure out how you gonna give advice for something you had no part in.
No part in? Now it's no part?
What do you mean?
Nope, now it's no part? I had no part in it? Okay, I'm going to read y'all this letter that I got from a fan who's young, which is the best way to start with good. 800 in black is not impossible. I have it. Dear KevOnStage, my name is Ronnie, and I'm a young adult who would like to increase my credit score. I recently watched your all-deaf digital video about whether white people have the best credit, and I was astonished to hear that your credit score was 812. Actually, since that video, it went down to 802. But I digress. Can you please make a periscope about how you got your credit score that high and how you maintain it? Such information would be much appreciated for myself and other young men and women of color. Sure. Please get Liz to educate us is one of the comments. Okay. Don't sip tea. Don't sip tea. Joe, do your homework. All right, let me tell y'all. First things first. I'm a papa. Freaks all the honeys. All right, first things first. Start young, okay? I can't do a credit repair thing later on, but I'm going to talk about if you're young, okay? Number one thing. I wish I would have thought about how to do this, but I'm going to tell you off the top of my head. Number one thing. Know what does affect your credit and what does not affect your credit. So when you have little money, because when I started my credit journey, I was broke. Okay? However, if you know when you're broke and what to pay and what not to pay, you can still have good credit. Okay? Number one, the things that affect your credit that you pay on time are revolving or installment loans. Revolving loans are like credit cards, okay? Installment loans are like cars, stuff that you pay monthly. It's a fixed amount, fixed thing. So one of the first things I learned was that to begin building credit, you need a credit card. At this time in my life, you could get a credit card relatively easily if you were a college student and working, which I was, and I got that from Bank of America. So what my teacher, Mr. Tag, my favorite teacher of all time, who taught me about credit, I love my parents, but they didn't teach me nothing about credit. But I still love them. He said, get you a little credit card from Bank of America, buy one thing on it, buy a McDonald's meal for $7, and then go home and pay it off. This is much simpler now that you have McDonald's because it basically just shows an on-time payment on your credit, okay? And how not to mess that up, one thing credit people look at is debt to income ratio and balance to max ratio. So say you got a $1,000 credit line and your balance stays at $979 all the time. That, although you pay on time, it doesn't look as good as your balance staying at $9, okay? Yes, I'll talk about repairing your credit as well, Father. Thank you. And you don't really need a credit business, my dad. A credit business place. Okay, what's up, Jay Alexander Comedy? I loved you in BT's Necessary Roughness Part 2. Was it called Necessary Roughness? I think that was a football movie. Necessary Drama Part 2. Okay? So, don't utilize your credit cards, okay? If you don't have the money to pay for it when you put it on your credit card, it is likely that you won't have the money to pay it when it's due. Credit cards are banking on the fact that you won't have the money to pay for it. If you are young and you have a credit card, chances are your interest rate is somewhere between 15%, 19%, and 24%. So that $100 pair of Jordans, if you pay the minimum, which is what they want you to do, you'll end up paying $1,000 for some Jordans. Okay? So go to McDonald's, buy a 99-cent thing, and then go home and pay your bill off. Do that once a month. And that'll show an on-time payment, okay? The next thing you need to understand, take your cell phone bill or light bill, right? Paying your cell phone bill, a lot of people didn't know this when I worked in the bank, and I was surprised. A lot of people don't even know what paying on time and doesn't pay on time affects your credit. Paying your light bill on time every month has no effect on your credit. Paying your cell phone bill on time every month has no effect on your credit. However, if you don't pay your cell phone bill and it's $200 and it goes to collections, that can have a negative impact on your credit. So cell phones cannot help you, but they can hurt you. Okay, so pay attention to what you have. So if it comes down to you only having $100, you're deciding to pay my cell phone bill, my electric bill, or my credit card bill, pay your cell phone bill first. Because if you pay your electric bill, even if you're going to get a late fee, if you pay your light bill last, that doesn't affect your credit. You pay your cell phone bill last, doesn't affect your credit. You pay your credit card late or don't pay it, that will affect your credit. Okay? So that's the most important thing. So for a while, those are really the only two things I did. I got a credit card that I pay. I mean, I'm talking about before online banking, I drove to Bank of America, sped down the road because I didn't get the money to pay until the last day, and waited in line and paid it just to make sure my bill was on time. The key to credit cards, to really managing them, is if you pay your balance off before the month is over. Somebody asked about interest. You won't be affected by the interest rate. So it doesn't matter what your credit card interest rate is, 0 or 500%. If you don't carry a balance on it, you will never pay it. The problem is most people are not disciplined. When they get a credit card, they buy stuff that they can't afford now with cash, and they put on a credit card like they're going to have more money now later. Their job is their job. You live in a paycheck to paycheck, and you got a credit card. Your paycheck ain't, if you ain't getting no bigger, ain't no overtime, ain't no bonus coming, ain't no additional income coming, there's no way to pay it. So that $100, you pay $10, next month's going to be $98. It's not going down $10. It's not an installment loan. They're going to tack on that interest, and if you're young, the interest is going to be crazy. So if you pay $100, you pay that off within that same billing cycle, which credit card companies do not like, it'll keep your bill going down, okay? Somebody said, know your date. With online banking, this is a lot more simple. When I started, back in my day, I actually had to put my bill in the mail and mail it off. I had to actually write a check or go to the bank to pay my credit card bill. Nowadays, if your bank doesn't have online banking, then I don't know who you're banking with, but you should get online banking, okay? It's very simple, okay? The biggest thing about getting credit is discipline. The reason most people have bad credit is they don't have discipline or they don't have knowledge. They don't know what's affecting their credit, or they're afraid, okay? People be afraid to go check on their credit and see what they're talking about. So you've got to have discipline. If you ain't got the cash for it, then credit card's not going to help you, okay? And if you have to put on a credit card, then you need to focus the next month. You can't eat out. You can't go out of town. You got to pay your credit card bill back off, okay? The next thing, the amount of credit cards you have. The amount of credit you have and the range of credit helps to increase your credit score. So as my credit, and by the way, let me take this moment to say that my wife pays our bills on time with money that we both make.
That's fine.
But she pays the bills on time.
I could be squandering the money that
you could be squandering, but you're not. So thank you to my wife for paying our bills on time. God bless her for that. Okay, so the range of income, or the range of credit you have is important, okay? Credit cards, debt to income ratio. I keep saying debt to income ratio, but I don't mean that. I don't know what the term is, but the amount you have versus the amounts available to you. I can't think of the term, but basically debt ratio. I think it's the debt ratio. What is it called? I don't know. It's not debt to income. Open credit. Open credit. I think it's open credit. Basically, if you have a $10,000 credit line,
I think it's your limit.
I think
it says something with limit.
I don't know, but it's basically if you have a $10,000 credit line and it's open credit to debt ratio. That's what it's called. Okay. If you have a $10,000 line and you have 9,000 or 9,000 on it all the time, that doesn't look good to credit companies. You got 10 credit cards and they're all very close to the amount max. That looks bad to banks. They're like, yo, this person is a paycheck missed away from being broke. So if you have credit cards, it looks much better if you have a $10,000 limit and there's only $100 on it, $1,000 or $1,500 on it, or whatever like that. Okay, then you have a car payment you're paying. My credit didn't get really crazy good until we bought a house. It was good before, but when we bought a house, we had installment loans, and we had credit card loans. You start paying that mortgage on time every time, student loans, credit cards, car note, and it looks like you're managing your money. That's the most important thing. Now, I was not rich, still not am yet rich. But what I did was pay the stuff that matters first. Okay, major key. Pay the stuff that matters first. The cell phone is
it's called percent of balances to credit limits.
There it is. We were way off, but close.
I was like, yeah.
Percent of balance to credit limits. That's one of the things that they look for. Okay? Here's my advice to someone getting their first credit card. They will offer you a large limit, right? $2,000, $3,000. First advice, call them and say, make my limit $500. Why? Because if your credit limit is $500, that's just a week or two of you getting your act together, and you can pay that back. Okay? $3,000, you lose your mind for a minute, and you get $3,000. That's a little bit more to handle. And what happens is, as your credit increases, they'll automatically raise your limit. I had a credit card that went from $500 to $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. Hey. Okay, you should have one that has a high limit, because you got $10,000, you only have $500, looks good. But don't have 4 or 5 that got $10,000. Okay, because thank you, Emery. Yes, don't have 4 or 5, because now they're looking like, bro, what? Why you got all these things? And just don't tempt yourself. Don't put yourself in a position to lose it, because somebody dies in the family. I'm gonna put it on YouTube. Somebody dies in the family. You gotta buy a thing. You know, you got cash and you don't want to use it. And let me tell you guys something. Okay, I still gotta work with this now. Is the heat on?
Yeah, I got cold.
I am burning up. I smell my deodorant working. Yeah, they'll sneakily rise your credit limits. And here's another thing. They'll lower your credit limit too. You lose your job. When the housing crisis started happening, people had home equity lines of credit, and they was lowering them mugs. People was depending on those, and the bank was like, we don't think you can pay this anymore. And they'll take it right back down. Okay, so what was I talking about? Limits. So manage your limits, manage yourself. Okay, so what I was telling y'all, I had to buy shirts. I had to buy boxes of shirts, and I have credit cards. PayPal offered me a line of credit. Bank of America offers me a business line of credit every time I go in there. And here's the thing. People who have good credit don't take those credit cards because they want to maintain it. But I was tempted to use credit card. I was like, let me just put this on the credit card. When I sell my shirts, I'll put it back on, because it stings to pay cash. But when you pay cash, you know it ain't going to cost no more next time. Okay? It ain't going to cost no more in next month. So I just knew myself that it was better for me, pay that cash, let it sting, and then when I get my cash back, I'll be better off. So to recap so far, most important things, pay what counts on your credit first. Credit cards, revolving loans, installment loans. Your cell phone bill, your electric bill, your light bill, your gas, water, heat, cable, all those things that they'll cut off don't matter towards credit. So let your cable get cut off. If you got a sting, let your cable get cut off. Pay your car note, pay your credit cards first. Okay, I'm going to see The Big Short. I pretty much watch every movie about the fall of the finance industry. Okay, when you get your credit cards, keep the limit low. Pay something and then pay the bill off immediately. Credit cards don't know. They don't care. As long as they don't care. It doesn't say how much the amount was paid. It just says on-time payment. Okay, the other thing is it takes time to build credit. Okay, so my credit, it's been years that we've been paying stuff on time. It ain't just now. I pretty much started as soon as I got credit, and I probably have never probably had a late payment on a credit card, car loan, or home loan. I mean, in my life. Thanks to myself and my wife. Let me just say, I was doing this before we were married.
How long have we been married?
We've been married 11 years.
Trumps any amount.
We got first years.
We got married at 21. You were paying credit by yourself for all of 3 or 4 years.
But I did it. But I've never had. Also keep stable employment. I've never had a late payment on any installment loan. Now, cable been late.
That's not true.
Can I talk about my life prior to you now? Is that okay? Is that all right? Is that, if I do that? Is that okay? I mean, do you want to get on this scope or do you not? Do you not? Do you not? Okay. Struggling. I had my cell phone cut off for 4 weeks when I was in college, and that stung. But I paid that credit card. I paid my rent on time every time. Listen, you don't remember when I had to babysit the girl, and I'm gonna talk about it to you off camera.
Because you ain't telling the truth.
My cell phone was cut off.
I don't think you're telling the truth.
Liz, give me this. I'm gonna tell you who it was.
No, on here. Don't write on the kids' homework. No. I know what it says.
I'm gonna talk to you after. Anyway, let your cable get cut off. Now, do not let your cable get cut off and then not pay it ever and let it go to collections. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it get cut off, pay it back, get it turned back on. Okay, I'm not talking about let it get cut off and then go to collections. Okay, because collections is bad. Check systems is also bad. That's another thing. Having a stable bank account cannot help you, but having a bank account go into the negative, then be closed and charged off to collections can hurt you. So that's why it's kind of backwards. The credit industry has a lot of things that can hurt you and not as many things that can help you. Okay? And here's a simple thing. Karis, my loves, don't get things you can't afford. If you can't afford to go out of town and get a rental car, a hotel, food and all that stuff on cash, then you don't have the money to go out of town. My dad told me this. If you don't have the money to go out of town, pay for your hotel, pay for your rental car, and pay for your food in cash, then you don't have the money to go out of town. And people be so busy trying to stunt that they can't live. Stunt with credit. You know one of the things that I love? I love when I have to get credit and people look at me and Lisa can tell you, and I'm black and young, and they don't think our credit is good, and I be like, oh, just run it. Well, are you sure? Have you had it? Just run it. And they be coming back just as excited when they sit down. Oh, Mr. Fredericks and Miss Fredericks. What did you say? What? All the houses and land are available to you. Oh, and I make them go, did you see this? This is when I had $750 and we bought some furniture. Did you see the $750? Did you see? Oh, no, now y'all want to talk to me. No, turn the computer screen around. I want to look at it. I made them turn it around. Let me look at it. Because I know what I'm working with. Don't play your boy. Because we got little kids who asking for popcorn. What's up? I make them feel real bad. Oh, yes, I do. Well, is your credit going to be a problem? Oh, that won't be a problem. Well, you're sure? I mean, there's things we can work with. That won't be a problem.
Fredericks, have a seat.
That won't be a problem. Well, hello, sir, Mr. Fredericks. Why didn't you say? Why didn't you say so? Here's another thing that can help. Pay your installment loans off early if you can. Focus. Me and Liz, we out here snowballing. We out here taking very little trips this year, trying to finish this dead off. But the problem is people don't want to sacrifice. They still want to go out of town. They still want a birthday. You can't have both, okay? You want to have good credit or you want to have Jordans and out-of-town trips. You can't get ahead without making a sacrifice. Pretty much everybody has debt. Student loan, credit card, something like that, house. We all can't win the Powerball. If you have no credit history, that's even worse than having bad credit in some ways because they're like, I don't know what you might do. So I would advise you to get a very small credit card or an installment loan. And not even, you can get an installment loan. You can even get an installment loan. Not a rush card. Don't play. Okay. Is there any questions? Any comment questions? Is it a benefit to pay my car note earlier? No. On time, early, don't matter. Just pay it once a month. How do you build credit? Rewatch this scope. Is there good debt? Technically,
Yes.
all debt's bad debt, but that's not true to credit in companies. Mortgage loans not considered bad. Student loans is almost assumed. So installment loans are not that bad. Installment loan is like a car note. Or if you just buy, you could just buy, get a, well, they really don't do installment loans for anything like that anymore. We used to be able to just borrow $2,000 from the bank for stuff.
But you probably have good, those are unsecured and you have to have good credit.
Oh, yeah. If you're trying to reestablish your credit, a secured credit card is a good way to go. Yes. Secured credit card is where you give the bank $500 and they basically give you a credit card for $500 with your money. And the only reason that's good is to show that you can pay your stuff off on time. So, and most banks will do that even if you have bad credit. But what should you do to get out of debt? That'll have to be another scope. Another good tip is be careful of hard inquiries. That's a very small thing. Inquiries don't hurt your credit as much. Don't just be applying for stuff willy-nilly. If you got to go buy a loan, the credit companies will say, okay, like say me and Liz are going to look for a house. And if you spend, say, 2 weeks or even a month and you're looking for the right mortgage loan, they won't get that. They won't nick you. But when you buy something, when they start looking, it'll go down a little bit, but then just don't go applying for stuff all day. Me and Liz rarely, if ever, the last thing we applied for, shoot, maybe when we got the car, the Honda. That was the last thing. But they don't just be poking on my credit. It is a slow process. Any other questions? I'm hot.
You want to turn on?
No. How can you get a credit card if your credit's already bad? Look into secured credit cards. Joe, did you bring that trash up?
No, they're still.
Oh, okay. Why don't you sit down and finish?
That's like,
Student loan default? No. Don't default on your student loans. That will kill you. If you have bad credit, can you still get a house? Yes, but it's difficult. My credit score is 802. Somebody just asked.
Actually, I just looked it up. It's 809.
809 now. Your boy went back up. 809. How often do I check my credit score? Okay, so we have Discover, which apparently, did you know that Discover is for people with good credit?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So Discover tells me my credit score anytime.
Every month on your statement.
When to discuss credit and dating. Did we discuss credit?
No, we were young.
We were 16 when we were dating, so we didn't have no credit.
We did our credit together.
You can find your credit score with the big three, Equifax, TransUnion, and I can never remember the third name.
Equifax, TransUnion, and...
Experian? Experian. Am I helping Doughboy? I'm trying. Doughboy don't be making good, consistent decisions. He's my boy, though.
That's why his name is Doughboy.
Come study these spelling words with your Doughboy self.
Yes, Mommy, it's your Doughboy.
Okay. You might want to watch it. Okay, anything else? Here's the thing. Okay, there's a good question. Somebody said, should I close out my credit card? This is something I totally forgot. I don't know what it's called.
Length of history.
Length of credit history. So the first credit card I got, I still have. Because now I'm 32 and I got that credit card when I was 18.
Your Bank of America?
Yeah.
I closed mine.
Yeah, I know. What's that age? 18 and 32? 16?
Sure.
14? Joe, what's that? 32 minus 18.
32 minus 18?
Is that 16 or 14?
16 and 14?
Is it 16 or 14? 32 minus 18. 16? 14. Come on, Joe. I'm counting on you.
16 or 14, right?
32 minus 18.
Just do 32 minus 14.
32.
No, 32 minus 18.
32 minus what?
32 minus 18.
I'm about to just do it on the calculator. 14.
14. Okay, so I've had that credit card for 14 years.
16 didn't work.
So when they look at your credit, they're like, how long have you had a loan? Now, a car loan, it's gonna begin and end. A mortgage is gonna go on for a long time. But that first credit card I have, I still have. Because now it shows I've basically had a credit card for 14 years and it's always been in good standing. So that is important. So if you're gonna close a credit card out, close one of the newer ones, not the ones that'll shorten your history. Okay? But don't have a bunch of credit cards if they have an open balance, zero balance. Yes, I think I have 3. My first one, my airlines one, and my Discover one. And I had a business credit card, but I closed that. Boy, that sucks. Foreclosure gonna stay on your credit for a minute. But actually, since the world had so many foreclosures, it's not as bad. Foreclosure and bankruptcy are not as bad as they were, but they still are really damaging to your credit. Well, they're not as bad in the sense that you can still get stuff.
Of, like, the definition?
I still got that barbecue sauce on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
but they're not as bad. They still will damage your credit, but you can still get something. Is 600 a bad score?
You can get,
It's not considered a good score.
I have the breakdown.
What's the breakdown?
I'm about to tell you. You can get anything with bad credit. You just have to pay for it.
That's what I was going to say. Good credit, bad credit, no problem. What that means is high interest, high interest, high interest.
Even your insurance is
Alaska Airlines is where the card I have, but I'm to close it because we don't. Alaska Airlines good.
I know, and we don't. There's nothing on it, and all we get.
And we just got the annual
Yeah,
fee.
we got the annual fee.
We need to close it off. Yeah, we're in the 800 club. Your mom didn't even know.
800 to 850 is exceptional. Indication of an exceptional borrower. 740, 799, very dependable. Indication of a very dependable borrower. Okay, I'm just going to give you the thing because their definitions are done. 670 to 639. I'm sorry, 670 to 739 is good. That's the average. 580 to 669 is below average, and 300 to 579 is very risky.
There you go. So you don't. It's not considered. It's not. It's considered good at 670, great at 740, amazing at 800. What your boy is. It usually tops out about 850.
Yeah.
When you're married, does it have the same one?
You have individual scores.
No, you have individual scores. However, if you have a mortgage loan together, like me and Melissa have, if we pay that late, it affects both of our scores negatively. And we pay it on time, it affects both of us good. So generally, a lot of times, most married people are probably within 100 points of each other. How long does it take to build your credit after Chapter 13 bankruptcy? It takes at least
7 years.
Yeah. It takes 2 years of good stuff to even start going in the right direction. And about 7 years to be completely repair bad. How do you raise mine? You got to go back and read the whole thing. How about buying a car? Even if you can afford it, those good credit, bad credit, no credit places, it's a bad loan in the sense that the interest rate is high. But if you're building your credit and you can get that loan and pay it on time, then chances are if you pay that on time all the way, it'll come down. Your interest will. Hospital bills cannot positively affect your credit, but if you don't pay them and they default, it will negatively impact your credit. How long does a judgment take to get off your credit? It depends. The more money, the higher it is, the harder it is. The higher the balance that you owe or defaulted on, the harsher it is on your credit.
And how recent it is.
And how recent. Just rewatch the replay or go on my YouTube page. I'm going to put it on in the next couple of days. The most important thing is discipline, guys. Discipline. It takes a lot of discipline. And that's probably the most important thing. Discipline and knowledge. My name is Kevin. Okay. Any other questions? I'm about to go. Oh, yes, Greg. Also important to check your credit reports for accuracy. That has happened to us before. Stuff be on your credit that be negative. Nah. It was just Greg from Tampa. Check your credit report. A lot of people don't even know, and they be so afraid if they don't check. And even if you have bad credit, it be some stuff that ain't on there or wrong, or you paid off that didn't come off. That's why this is why I always feel you don't have to pay somebody to do your credit if you know what to do and what to look for. Get your credit report. You should check it. We usually check our credit report around the time we do our taxes. Make sure everything is on there that looks legit, because people will do stuff, especially if you have a common name, it can be wrong. Your name, Traika, Molika, Conclica, chances of them getting your name wrong can happen. But don't be afraid of it. It ain't like the boogeyman. If you don't look, he ain't going to come. Whether you look or not, your score going to be your score. Okay? Keep your payoff statements. Online banking has helped with a lot of that stuff. I don't know if any other credit cards give you your report, but you can pay to get your report from the big three: Experian, Equifax, TransUnion.
You also, by law, they're required to. You can get it once a year for free. Remember, that's how we used to do it. And you can go to
creditreport.com.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I think it is. Annualcreditreport.com.
Annual credit report. That's exactly what it is. Annual credit.
What is Credit Karma?
That's the stuff where
They fix it for you?
No. You can get your credit report, but they end up signing you up for some backward stuff on the end, or you can get it for free. But I think it's kind of shady. I wouldn't go through those, honestly. Credit Karma or that, the one that had the jingle, creditreport.com, and it had the band or whatever. I wouldn't go through those. I would go to annualcreditreport.com, get it for free every year directly from them. You don't need to go through a third party. Get it from them directly.
Get it from the people. All right. Car insurance can affect you negatively. Pretty much anything that can be closed out with you owing money can affect you negatively. But not everything can affect you positively. Okay? Hospital bills, phone bills, bank accounts in the negative. Pretty much anything can affect you negatively if you let it close out and not pay on time. That's the thing about credit. It's a lot easier to mess up than it is to build.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Can you open this?
Sure. What is this? Vanilla ice cream?
Yes.
Just plain vanilla ice cream?
That's what I said.
That's just plain, man. Who are you? Who are you, man? All right, guys. I got to go. I love y'all individually and collectively as a group. We'll see you tomorrow at the conference.